Share with as many people as possible. Let's do this today. All right. Let's talk. Yeah. This is known as Chibanda. Chibanda, Chibanda. All right. We have a lot to talk about today. All right. Brother Stephanie says DJ. No. Not a DJ. All right. So let's chat a little bit. Okay. This is Olia Band at Chibanda. This music used to be good, eh? All right. So share with as many people as possible. Let's get this going. Once we hit 500, then I get started. All right. TV Bakwet. Yeah. Another bandos yala share another bandos. All right. 500. Okay. So we can get started. All right. All right. Good evening, Chuempala. Good evening, world. Good evening, Malawi, where today President Hichilema was paying a courtesy call on our neighbor. I don't think going to Malawi is an international visit, so forget it. Malawi is like home. So even for me, it doesn't count. Malawi, Congo, Zimbabwe, no. These are just visiting the neighbors. All right. So good evening, Lilongwe and Blantyre. Good evening, Mozambique and Zimbabwe, and Botswana and Namibia and Malawi again, and Angola and Congo DR, Katanga, our relatives. Bagatange, good evening, and everyone else. I have 3 issues that I want to deal with today, and so let's get started. issue number one. Issue number one will be General Norman Chipakupaku, Mr. Norman Chipakupaku. And so I just want to speak to some issues that have arisen from the time that he was appointed and the reports that were written in a certain newspaper. Now, the Daily Revelation, so among online newspapers, the Daily Revelation has a little bit more credibility to me. So they're not like all these fly-by-night things, right? Fly-by-night pages. So there is a little bit, they're a little bit legitimate as far as I'm concerned. So when I read a story from the Daily Revelation, I want to pay particular attention to it. I don't know who the owners are, but anyway, they're a little bit more so because online we have all sorts of things. We have liars and malicious people who just publish anything, and then we have a few pages that we think could be a little bit legitimate as far as the news that they've carried is concerned. However, I need to just put a few things in context. Number one, I do not think that there is pushback on the Zambian Defense Forces against the appointment of Mr. Norman Chipakupaku as Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Defense. I don't think there is any pushback from the generals or the top brass in the Ministry of Defense in our country. Our country has one of the most professional soldiers, military, extremely professional. And so I do not think that our professional army can plant a story like was published in the Daily Revelation. Absolutely none. None of our generals, none of our colonels, none of our top brass would do that. The Zambian army is a professional army, and it will remain professional. There's been attempts that have been made to try and politicize it, but it has risen above politics, always. And the Zambia Army, the Zambia National Service, the Zambia Air Force have always been on the side of the people. When we had this last election, when the Electoral Commission of Zambia announced the results, they went, commanders, to go and debrief the newly elected president. They are extremely loyal to our country. Therefore, that story, in my opinion, has nothing to do with our defense forces or the superior officers of our national defense. Absolutely nothing. They are innocent. Okay? We believe in our army. We believe in our soldiers. We believe in the superior officers. We believe in all the lieutenants, in all the colonels, in all the generals, whatever they are. All right? This therefore gives me the next question. If our soldiers are good and professional, then who could have planted that story? That is the one I want to address. In other words, we have made so much progress. But you are telling us, on the other hand, Munsha, tone down on this rhetoric now. You've already won. But we need to tone down truly. But the people that were defeated, they have not. They continue spreading malicious propaganda and lies. And the latest being the lie about General Chipakupaku and his alleged rejection by whoever is in the military, which is not true. He's been very well received. In fact, he's even taken pictures in his office as permanent secretary at the Ministry of Defense. There is no resistance from our soldiers. Our soldiers would not resist a political appointment. They wouldn't, so they haven't. But to those that want to spread messages of propaganda and hate and precipitate it against one of our own co-hosts here, Mr. Norman Chipakupaku, we need to have a few words. Here are the few words for them. Mr. Norman Chipakupako, being a 65 or 64-year-old, he told us his age the last time he was having his birthday right here on TV. He's had a long life, and I think it's been a colorful life. I don't know its details, but it must be extremely colorful. You can't come from Mumbwa and go to Scotland and have no colorful life. So I think there must have been a colorful life there, but that is not the issue, you know. If you get the blessing of living up to 65 years old, you are likely to have a little bit of color to your life, but that is not the issue, all right? The issue is, just a few days ago, I was celebrating 16 years for my son. My son is 16 years old. He turns 16 years old on the 5th of December. My son, 16 years. And when I looked at him, now, because of our association with Mr. Norman Chipakupako, he told us a little bit of his story. At 16 years old, he enlisted as a soldier. 16 years old, around 1972. And his first posting was Gonda Barracks. Now, if it's 1972, he's about 16 years old. He joins the army as an enlisted soldier. It goes to show the kind of sacrifice that our soldiers have made over the years. Zambian soldiers. And by 1972, we had several issues that we were dealing with. Apartheid, South Africa. There was issues with Rhodesia. There were issues in Mozambique. And so the little young boys that were being enlisted in Kenneth Kaunda's army were young, very young, naive, and innocent. And Mr. Norman Chipakupako was one such a person. Joined the army because I believe he had a passion to serve this country and fight our enemies, right? At 16 years old. Just let that sink in. I have a 16-year-old son. I look at him and I wonder, can this chap go and serve in the army, you know? But there he was at 16 years old, Mr. Norman Chipakupako. He joins the Zambia army and becomes an enlisted soldier. Something happens in between. They go to all these operations and stuff like that, and he rises. Now, one thing that we need to be very clear, during Kenneth Kaunda's time, there was a very blurred distinction between the party and the levers of the state. The party, because it was the party and its government. So there wasn't that much distinction. So if you work very well as a soldier, Kenneth Kaunda would come after you and appoint you to a political position within the party. That's exactly what happened with Mr. Norman Chipakupako. He then became one of the directors in UNIP. So he was an enlisted soldier, then he becomes one of the directors in UNIP, and he then begins working closely with the party. After leaving, I believe, his position as a soldier. Now there is all these lies that are being spread that soldiers, once a soldier, always a soldier. Once a soldier, always a soldier is a saying. It's not a legal status. It's just a saying. It's just like saying, once an honorable member of parliament, always an honorable member of parliament, meaning we call Obvious Maliteta honorable Obvious Maliteta, not because he's still serving as an MP, but because once you are an MP, you go with that title of honorable, right? So once a soldier, always a soldier, that's what it means. It doesn't mean then that once you are a soldier, therefore you are always subject to military law and military discipline. That is not what the law is. In addition to that, when an enlisted soldier leaves the service, they don't go with their ranks. The only people who go with their ranks are superior officers. For example, colonels, generals, or whatever it is. They are the ones who go with their rank. They retire with their rank. Enlisted soldiers do not go with their ranks. That's why you can't be calling a person as corporal, whatever it is, corporal Shani or sergeant Shani, after they have left and they've served their country with excellence. They never, because they leave that behind. They are still soldiers. They are still trained as soldiers. They've witnessed a lot. Perhaps they've killed a lot. And so I was soldier Kairi and shot. 16-year-old. And he served this country. And so rose through UNIP, and then at one point during the transition to democracy, he was a UNIP member of the Central Committee, and then he left Zambia. You know, he's a colorful guy, you know. I have said him. He's a colorful guy. However, he then improved himself. He had his GCE, whatever you call it. Is it Cambridge? He had a higher national diploma up to having a Master of Science degree. And after that, he saw that the direction of the country was pretty bad, so he started doing politics. In our country, politics matter. The reason is politics is a way that shows how our country is going to be governed. It tests leaders. It socializes our people that are aspiring to be leaders. Politics matter. We are a political country. We are not a military country. We are a political country. The military is there to serve the people, and the military is under control and supervision of civilians. That's what it means to have a military that is under civilian supervision, meaning it is we, the people, who do the politics. When we do the politics, we then give to the military their commanders. Who are their commanders? The head of state. It is we, the people, that elect for the military their commander. When the military chooses their own commander, it is known as a coup d'etat. In Zambia, it is the people of Zambia who politic. By politics, it means this one says this, the other one says that. You go to elections, and then whoever is elected as president becomes the civilian head of the military. All right. Now, of course, this civilian head does not function alone. He has other civilians around him that help him provide that oversight over soldiers. That's very important. That is our system, which is very well understood by our army. Therefore, that article from the Daily Revelation is not coming from the Zambia top brass, because they do understand very well what this means. And so, when we, the people, elect a commander-in-chief for our soldiers, the soldiers are obligated to salute such a chief. That is how it works. It doesn't matter whether that chief has never served in the army. Nothing. It's irrelevant whether Mr. Hakainde Hichilema served in the army, or whether he served as a non-commissioned officer, or whether he served as a commissioned officer. It's irrelevant. It is because it is the people of Zambia who have given to the soldiers their commander-in-chief. And the rules are very clear. The government, which is elected by the people, provides oversight over the military. There is no gun in our country that can go off on a military base without political approval. In other words, the politicians are the owners of those guns, even if it's the soldiers actually that fire. They can only fire at the command of a politician. That's what is known as political oversight. Okay? When soldiers go off on their own to do whatever they want to do, then it means then that they've lost political oversight. And the reason why we need to have political oversight is that we, the people of Zambia, can have a say on how our guns are discharged and where our guns are going and how our soldiers defend us. That is very important. Okay? It is never in the role of the military to refuse political oversight. Never in our country. Okay? So it's not coming from the military. It's coming from the enemies who want to spread propaganda and lies. Now, let me go back to the 16-year-old. If you said that this non-commissioned former soldier cannot be permanent secretary in the Ministry of Defense, you are actually spitting on the sacrifices of thousands and thousands of our enlisted soldiers who sacrificed for our country. Little 16-year-old boys and girls who joined the Zambia army in the 70s to protect this country. And to say that they cannot be elected by us in order to serve our politics, our administration, our government, is an insult to their sacrifice. Therefore, out of just goodwill, I would appeal to the Daily Revelation to quickly quickly retract that, because it is an insult of our sacrifice, of the sacrifice of the men and women in uniform that have been sacrificing. This idea that when a soldier saves our country, they forever remain at the tail end of ranks is nonsense, to use just a better term. The reason is serving in the military is not your status. The military is not life. The military is the job that you had at one particular time as an enlisted soldier. When you leave that as an enlisted soldier, there are so many other opportunities that you can do in the world, including the people of Zambia electing you to serve as president. If not, including the people of Zambia electing a president who then chooses who are going to be part of his government. That is part of it. And so we need to avoid this carelessness of spitting at the sacrifice of our people. Some of his colleagues, General Mr. No Much Power, and now we call him General, it's a nickname. They died. They died protecting a little boy and a little girl who has the audacity today to get on social media and begin insulting a former soldier who stayed up very late in Gacholola. I even forget the places he mentioned, along the Mozambican border, along the Angolan border, along the Congolese border, to protect your father and mother so that you could have the freedom that you are enjoying today. And to promote this malicious propaganda that such a little boy who sacrificed his life to protect our country is somehow ineligible to serve in the political administration of our country is an insult. First of all, it is not legal, one, because there is no law that stops a non-commissioned officer from serving as a political administrator in our country. Two, common sense. It is an insult to the sacrifice of our soldiers. This idea that there is this distinction between officers and general soldiers, of course it is there, and it is there in order for us to accomplish a task. But after that task is done, our constitution affords every Zambian equal rights, including the equal right to go and campaign to the people of Zambia to change a political administration so that we could have a government, not a government of thieves, but a government that is going to do better for our country. Now, you could have your own issues with General Chipakupaku, Mr. Chipakupaku. It's okay, you know, he's led a very colorful life, in my opinion. In my own opinion. And you could differ with that. But you shall never insult that red you see in the national flag. The red you see in the national flag, it is talking of the blood sacrifice. Blood sacrifice. Now, it is not just the sacrifice of people that were fighting for the struggle. It is also the sacrifice of our soldiers, enlisted corporals who took the risk in order to go and fight for our country. And so there is no truth whatsoever that this thing was coming from the top brass. Our top brass is completely united. And they look at this old man, because he's an old man now at 64. All of them are probably younger in the army. They look at him and they are encouraged. They are happy that if this 16-year-old enlisted soldier has grown through the things, has done the politics, and because of his politics, we now have a new political government and he's been appointed as a PS, why can't they submit? They would. So all this excuse is not coming from a point of faithfulness to our government and to our country. Now, I'm not doing this because he's my friend. No, I'm doing it because I want to set the record straight so that this country starts respecting every little soldier, everybody, every little soldier that has sacrificed, every little soldier whose blood is going to be sacrificed if this country were to go to war. And we are going to build this country on such respect and honor for our soldiers, for those who have sacrificed, for the little enlisted 16-year-olds. That is what it means. Some of them are dead, as a matter of fact, for goodness sake. Chipakupaku's friends are dead. They died. Ask him, where are they? They'll go into operations and bombs are raining on them from South Africans. Dead. D-E-D, dead. And he is one survivor. 65 years later, he becomes a permanent secretary at the Ministry of Defense. And you say that soldiers are resisting him. Nonsense. You know? Some of them were trained by him because they must have been younger in the 80s when he was trading in Zambia National Service and stuff like that. Maybe their parents. Maybe some of these commanders that he will be serving today are children of those soldiers, because you know in the army usually abana ebengira inchito. And so he's going to work with them. Of course, it's a little awkward, but guess what? That is what it means to be a political republic and not a military republic. It might be awkward for one or two. You are saluting a 65-year-old soldier who enlisted as an army cadet, as an army whatever it is, at 16 years old. That's what we need to do. All right? Okay, that is over. I've already spoken about General Chipakupaku. Now, General is a nickname, and who knew? We did not know that he would be. We did not even know that we were going to win. When we were giving him the name, the nickname of General, did we know? We had no idea. It is you, the people of Zambia, that decided to pick on the UPND. It is you, the people. Elo, aba winner my elections. Eba teke chalo. Epela. Ni mwe mwasa. Ushe tuwa iwikire pofye. Na bahichirema. Na wabaishire tene kapofe pakapuna pampando. No. Ni mwe mwa basadide mwebena Zambia. Bali akuma elo imomwebena Chiwempala mwaya vota. I joined abena Chiwempala ine kuchiwempala. Chiwempala ho. Na adia abajoina na abajoina na abajoina. Elo tuwaya vota. Elo after bapenda ama elections. Baza sango kwebati. Uwa wina. Ni haka indi Hichilema. 2.8 million votes. Ine na Norman Chipakupaku. Tuwalela ndafyapo kulondolwela bena za. Elo imomwebena Zambia. Mwasumina mfyo twale mweba. Elo elio mwasumine mfyo twale randa. Elo nomba mwasala ba UPND. Elo nomba mwasala na bonse. Elo nomba elio bateka ba Hichilema. Bamono kwa bati uyu Chipakupaku ndemfuaya ese abombe ya masoja pamonga controlling officer. Elo nomba umuntu ambe koku ukutuka abashirika na ifo tusumi noko bati yo chirifye na masoja mchalo cheso basumi noko bati yo kutu watuko omusoja kutu watuko omusoja weho. I can't take this. Pako batule ponyo lulenda tadi masoja abo kaundare chita aside kabiye nyuku baya balwa batu chingirira nangu tule pepa lesa tuchingirirene lesa tuchingirira kuisa abo mfya masoja nemfuti na amabomu erwa le tuchingirira gwino. Today we are a Christian nation. Reject by who would reject? Let's have peace. Okay. The next thing is on the parliamentary ruling from the speaker. The parliamentary ruling from the speaker, and I need to have this. So the thing is, for those that are interested in a little bit of a history, so this is the ruling from the Speaker. So I have it there. I hope you'll be able to read through and see the ruling from the Speaker. Now, just a little bit of history. For some of you, have no idea what has happened with the election petitions. Now, I say I'm in an awkward position, but let me explain so that limbi twafuirisheko n'ekipani twafuirisheko n'ekyalo twafuirisheko na bonso because bachiti understand bino. What has happened with the petitions is we are very fortunate to have a president like President Hakainde Hichilema. Okay, we are very fortunate because something has happened. And so some are even having this attitude to say, what is he up to, right? Because when there were these petitions, President Hichilema did not jump on the thing to try and nullify a lot of seats or to try and go after the PF. If you listened to his address when he was speaking to the people of Zambia, right, during his inauguration, during the opening of Parliament, he mentioned that he's not going to actively pursue nullification of seats, but he still believes in democracy, and so he's not going to stand in the way of those MPs that are going to challenge the seats. Of course, there was a little bit of murmurs because what was expected was, you are the president, push for this thing, push for it, and he said he will stay away. And so we are very fortunate to have such a president. And he let the democracy out. He said, if you have proof as a UPND person, go ahead and petition. All right. But so there was this issue: is the president fully involved in nullifications? But we may not continue to have such a president. The next president might not be as good as the president that we have. And so with this in mind, it's very important that we stick to democratic principles in the way we interpret the Constitution, in the way we look at the Constitution. It's extremely important for us to do that. So in that case, then, when I read the ruling of the Speaker, it gave me serious concern. Now, some of you think that the ruling of the Speaker is somehow promoting the agenda of a particular party or even the... I'm very skeptical over that. I think the ruling of the Speaker, it's her own ruling, and she is in the position to do so because the standing orders empower her to make these rulings. The only issue is, if we took these rulings as setting the precedent, is that in that year, when we do not have a president who is as good as this current president, that president might involve themselves actively in disqualifying certain seats. It might create a problem at a later stage. That is the only misgiving that I have. The reason is, if you read what she has said, what the Speaker has said, honorable members, the ramification of the constitutional provision cited is that once the High Court has heard and determined the petition, the privilege given to a member to continue to hold his or her seat ceases. Holding the seat means to continue to enjoy the privileges of being a member of Parliament, which include attending the sittings of the House and receiving emoluments in that regard. The application of the law as espoused above ensures that a member does not draw benefits of being a member after a court of competent jurisdiction has nullified his or her seat. Now, without boring you with these details, because they are boring, here is the issue. These seats were nullified by the High Court. That is true. However, these gentlemen or ladies have appealed to the Constitutional Court for final determination. What the Speaker is saying is, if they have ceased to be members of Parliament due to a ruling from the High Court, she says, while they are appealing, they must not sit in Parliament. Now, that is what the Speaker has said. I have serious concerns with this. I would rather that it were interpreted in such a way that you wait until the Constitutional Court makes its final ruling on a matter. That's when that MP ceases to be a member of Parliament. I've had issues with our Constitution because we need to rewrite it. And I've offered myself go at nice Afrisha. Bantu, the core Constitution here, but never straightforward feels it are straightforward. Even the Constitutional Court itself, like on the grade 12 thing, complete confusion. Anyway, bali ruling akale efunde. So now when ngakapitula Constitution, namkwata something that is ambiguous, the best bet that you must do is to lean towards more democracy and due process. Mtakutila Constitution yalandati umuntu nga losing a seat elwachita appeal. It is not too expensive for our country to wait until that appeal process is accomplished. Because what the Speaker has addressed is, the Speaker has addressed the issue of emoluments. But Zambia cannot just be reduced to emoluments in beer. We must also look at the good work that MPs must perform in our parliament. That's very important. So now, to deprive the people of Kabushi, for example, now, I need to be very categorical. I don't personally believe in the gentleman from Kabushi. I think he's a wrong guy. You know? So, he's a wrong guy. Absolutely. I think, yeah. But if the people of Kabushi elected that gentleman, then the people of Kabushi are entitled to be represented by an MP they have chosen. That is what democracy is. Even to my own objections, but if the people of Kabushi have elected him, then it's good to afford the people of Kabushi the MP that they have elected. Now, of course, the High Court said no, and he has appealed. I think it only makes sense that his seat should fall vacant if the Constitutional Court agrees with what the High Court said. But to say that they cannot sit in Parliament because they cannot be paid emoluments is to reduce the viability of our democracy to how much money is spent. That is not how it works. The viability of our democracy is people-centered. It's on keeping our constitutional bodies and institutions intact. That is our goal. It cannot be too long to wait. Indeed, if we want the Constitutional Court to rule quicker, let us equip them with pens, papers, and judges, and their own building so that they can be ruling quickly. This is perhaps the challenge that we must have. But to say that they cannot sit in the House is, I'm sorry, it's pretty tough. And we could have it now because we have President Hakainde Hichilema. But what happens tomorrow if there is a new president who is too strong and a dictator who wants to have their own tentacles everywhere? Who can just instruct and put pressure on High Court judges to nullify as many seats as possible so that they don't sit in Parliament? No. That's why we need to control the direction of our democracy now. This is the time, this is the opportunity that we have. That's why this ruling makes me unease. There is definitely nothing wrong with waiting until the Constitutional Court makes its final determination. This is exactly what happened with Judge Patrick Matibini over the Chishimba Kambwiri's case, where the judge said, the speaker said, it does not matter that this gentleman has appealed, his seat is vacant, rendering the decision there as an academic exercise. We cannot deliberate in our democracy with that kind of thing. No, it is simple. If there is an appeal, let us wait for that appeal process to be complete and definitely decide in order for us to go on. The speaker is not saying that Lusambo is going to lose the seat. What the speaker is saying that Lusambo can't sit in parliament, because if he sits in parliament, then he'll be getting money. No. What do we care mostly? Is it about money? Everything is about money? It's not about the viability of our democracy? If we struggled to get emoluments or whatever it is, 20,000 or 30,000 kwacha, what does that do? It does not leave us in a bad situation, but at least the people of Kabushi will have a representative in parliament. Again, this has nothing to do with whether I agree with the gentleman or not. I could care very little about that Shimpundu. Very little. But I care about maintaining the integrity of our institutions and making rulings that make sense for the viability of our democracy. That is what it is. That is what this is all about. Because tomorrow, Hakainde Hichilema is only human. After he served his 10 years, there could be a new president. And the new president can come and do worse things. Eh? Because a president, for you that are not aware, a president has a lot of things to pressure, you know. We are trying to reduce that pressure, but there is a lot of pressure that they can just exert on a high court, on the high court. And assuming that President Hakainde Hichilema was such a president, and some people were hoping that he would be that president, appeal, make sure that there are petitions all over, put a little pressure on the judiciary and a few judges here and there, nullify them and disqualify them from sitting when the Constitutional Court is about to sit, I don't think that would be in the best interest of our democracy. That is why I'm a little uneasy. A little uneasy. So what will happen? They'll then go to the court and the court will rule differently? No. It is the people of Zambia who should find this unacceptable. Okay? Now, again, let me be very clear. This has nothing to do with the Patriotic Front. I don't like the Patriotic Front. They are a party of thieves or whatever it is. This has everything to do with the law and common sense. Umuntu, I'm a high court judges, but one high court judge, a single high court judge. You know, or for these others, kuliko na ngwati 3 judges, magistrates, they sit together and then they decide. Now, a single high court judge nullifies a seat. And on that basis, when there is in fact a place for an appeal, on that basis, you are going to say that these MPs cannot sit in parliament. No. I'm sorry. No. And this is not like the official position of the United Party for National Development. This has nothing to do with the majority party in parliament. No. If such rulings continue to be made in the name of the United Party for National Development, that will be a problem. No. There is nothing wrong with waiting or paying these people whatever is due to them while they are deliberating and sitting in parliament. There is nothing wrong. It's a small cost to the taxpayers until determination by the Constitutional Court. If we are concerned at how long the Constitutional Court takes to determine these cases, give them more judges, give them more money, give them cars, give them pens. I'm a pen. I'm a pen. I'm a ball pen. Bapereni I'm a ball pen. Bapereni I'm a paper. Bakulireni ne chikulwa chamwa ma judges pako bati bangufyanyeko epela. So nomba kukabushi tagwakabe MP. ECZ can't call a new election. On the other hand, and so until the appeal is heard in a year or two, if we continue at the current funding levels, until the appeal is heard in a year or two, no. It is true that the Speaker has a lot of leeway to rule about procedural matters in the House, but the Speaker cannot rewrite the Constitution for our country. No. That's why we're asking ourselves, is there something wrong with lawyers, senior lawyers being speakers? But sometimes takulebaka deference to the judges. Patrick Matibini was the same. He was a huge problem. Because he thought, I'm a doctor-in-law, a judge, therefore, even if I'm just a speaker, an important office, I can make rulings, judicial rulings. That's why the Constitutional Court pushed back and said, you are a speaker, you head the legislature, which is an important arm of our government, quite all right. But when it comes to disputes that we have, it is us as courts that are going to be final arbiters of disputes. This is a substantive dispute which cannot be resolved just by a standing order ruling from the desk or from the bench of the speaker. No. But the constitution needs to be changed. We need to work on this constitution, and we are not we perish. Okay, we can come and help to make the constitution a little bit better. But in the meantime, let everyone who is involved just use some common sense, for goodness sake. That's all we are asking. So that if tomorrow debates are being had about how we wanted to steer this country towards the right direction, that we were there to try and speak something to the constitution of our country and the way it is interpreted, so that it is interpreted in a way that is much more democratic. The days of the speakers making substantive constitutional rulings while in parliament are over. We as the people of Zambia should say no to that. What we want from the speaker, kupangama funde, for the people to not pali gap mwachta fill with that gap and say that these people are going to be outside, they will not be sitting because we don't want to pay them, or if the constitutional court rules otherwise, then tukapokorolashani pia tu abapere. The issue telu pia iyo. The issue is that abena kabushi bari sala lusambo. Ngarakutira bari sala lusambo. Ni ishebe MP wako. Namba tuchiteshani. Tuari beba abena kabushi. Ukobati uyulu sambo taba bwino. Uyulu sambo alikuwate MP esha kobati. I'm a billionaire ya pera funia kui. If it were abena kabushi. But if abena kabushi went ahead and still voted for him, what can we do? Kange MP wako. Namba tuchitendo. MP. So that is it. Now we then continue on to the other wrong MPs. Twalimwebere pano peno kobati ababa shimpundu helicopter. Abashitama helicopter yabiri. Common sense. Pano pano. Naba PS in defense number kange teba politician, so ishwiro kubabikamo is a civil servant. But previously in his former life in nawachipako pano peno twalisa sopololo kobata ya helicopter babashita yakwiva. You can go back and play April, May, June TV bakwetu. Tefe twalondolwele. Iyo niba businessman mwevo, niba businessman bakwisa. 2 helicopters. The DEC and Anti-Corruption Commission, they traced some money. Shafuma from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Shaya kuteki. These guys were thieves. That's why we should continue convincing the people of Zambia that this party is a party of thieves. They should never be allowed back into office. Now, of course, he's innocent until proven guilty. That's the law. Shimpundu helicopter is innocent until proven guilty. But tuma transactions efetwali limbi baka ya londurula mkoto kwa wati yari ama transaction tuaria mugushita kufimo kutaki katwish. But from ukubomfya fe common sense ine nasanga moko wati tafire panga sensitive. Number there will be a proof to a very high degree in a court of law. So I don't know how that will come. But as far as the little proof, the little Chuempala proof, under the standard of Chuempala, nibaka bwalala. If tuwa mwebere no kumweba. Kwa aba bashimpundu helicopter, 2 helicopters towards the election. Nga wafunya kuisempia. Atiyo mkwa ibari ndiba businessman. Indeed. Bari ndiba businessman. Ati bari ndiba business. No, mbate papa. empia babekata impia shafuma muchalo. Your money went to Turkey. It's the DEC. Now I've made a statement to cover Olupia Walif Kachinga $1.9 million Shaya ku Turkey at an embassy in Turkey. For no reason. Authorized by this Minister of Foreign Affairs. Whose seat has been nullified. So number, let the Constitutional Court complete its work so that to let staff play a very fair game. In and therefore fair. Malanji, waliva, bamutwala ku court. Halubulula. Malanji, tawako at grade 12, which in my opinion is a very ineffective requirement. But anyway, I never had Salava Constitutional Court. Produce grade 12. Anyway, Malanji, tawako at grade 12, wali minina, so you are disqualified. We want the Constitutional Court to make its final ruling. Once that is done, it's fair. If you're even after 100 days, a lot of fairness in our country. Let that fairness continue. That's why if it's the National Assembly, that's fair. No, if it's fair, Tulanda to fair. Ichintu that chiti fair, Nishta chiti fair. Number each shitty fair, H Tulanda chiti fair. Well, Ichintu chiti fair. Echo Tulanda at Yom Guaichi fair. Gachava fair shan. Ichidi unfair. If it were ever about Lungu Govat, Namushva, Gamulibaku sepo you want. Aka in the hitch. Mukam sepe win. No to kubika with my spanners, no kupanga, tumafunde, tumuto, very confusing, you know. No. Ukubumfia matia gasi, shan intimidation. No. Just be fair. And if you win a clean game, I'll be the first one to say congratulations. But you, the people of Zambia, had a different idea. And you agreed with us. El number mwasa pela haga inde hichilema 2.8 million votes. 2.8 million votes. Not 1 or 2. No. 2.8 million votes. I win. Ero alete kafya win. Abanandi are going to join me at a later stage, and then we are going to look at some of the questions that we have raised. But this broadcast must be ended, and then we are going to restart another one. But before that, let me just Muiya yo nimbona, you are there. So Muiya, don't say that naleka. No, I'm still here. Let me just look at some comments. Now there are quite a lot, so I'm just going to be jumping. Wimonati, I'm very unfair. No. Particularly those comments that come with stars, you know. Those comments that come with stars are a priority. Let me even look for them. They are a priority. So if a comment comes with stars, yes, it's a priority. It's a priority. So let me see. And even on YouTube, if a comment comes with stars, it's a priority. So let me see some of the comments here. Sometimes my my platform here does not show. I'm a stars like right now, but on Facebook it's there. So send stars. Subscribe to our channel. We lost 3 subscribers last week. I don't know why. Why would you lose? Why would you lose? Imwe, subscribe to this channel, to TV Vakweto. Just press there and subscribe. $4 every month. $4 fee. And you'll be part of this thing. Be part of something big. Let's do something big together, you know. So subscribe, and send us stars. Anyway, what are the Bamusharero Mwale Taka I dad na ikababola na ikosa kuno. Yakosa. When you are convicted and appeal against your conviction, you still remain a convict. This is the argument that I receive a lot, in the sense that, you see, law is like glasses, okay? Law is like glasses. So you could still have glass. That's the same with the law. And yet, you use different glasses for different purposes. If you brought a neighbor, glasses, That's exactly what it means with the law. In other words, it's not just the law, it's laws. There are different sets of principles for different kinds of laws. When you are interpreting the Constitution, it's a different set of glasses you need. When you are interpreting criminal law, it's completely different sets of rules. When you are looking at civil law, personal injury law, military law, or anything like that, it's different sets of rules. So do not confuse yourselves by saying that because in because a person convicted, it still remains with a conviction until an appeal. That is, with due respect, criminal law. Okay, it's not constitutional. All right. Constitutional law goes by what the Constitution says, what it says. Okay. Now, the Constitution is not always clear because sometimes mulafushechi sungu, and make it complicated. In the event that the Constitution is ambiguous, you can't get it. You must interpret it in a way that, first of all, favors democracy. Okay? First, very important. So if you are interpreting two things that seem to be a little bit contradictory in a constitutional text, and you must resolve that ambiguity, you cure it towards democracy and fairness. So what the Speaker did was did not lean towards democracy and natural justice. That is where the problem is. If you allow such interpretations of constitution, of constitutional texts, you're going to defile it. That is the problem we had with the grade 12 interpretation. Personally, I have told you that the problem with the grade 12 interpretation was because it violated basic interpretational principles of a constitutional text. When you have a problem in the Constitution, you cure it towards democratic values, towards the rule of law, towards justice. That is what you need to do, towards inclusion rather than exclusion. On the grade 12 thing, the Constitutional Court went completely the other way. They excluded more people instead of including more people. That is where the problem is. So again, that's what the law is. It's the laws. Do not use my glasses on yourself, because then it will not work. That's exactly what happens. So please avoid confusing matters, okay? This is a constitution. And the constitution is different from criminal law because a constitution is of general application to the entire country, and because its institutions have to do with the integrity of the republic itself. That's why you need to pay particular attention. When Registrar of Societies Andeleki, who is now my friend, in 2011, somewhere there, 2011 or 2012, he deregistered the MMD. And the High Court said, you can't do that. So he deregisters the MMD, and then he goes further by saying that all the seats that were held by the MMD are therefore now unvoid. You couldn't do that. The reason is, when you are dealing with a problem and you needed to cure that problem, you lean towards democratic values. And the High Court, I think it was Madam Justice Lengalenga, said you did not do that. Therefore, the cancellation of the registration of the MMD was reversed by the High Court. That's very important. That's very important. If the Constitution, the Constitution of Zambia, gives these people an appeal at Kutibacha Appeal Constitutional Court, what you are essentially saying is that what the Madam Speaker has said is between the High Court and the Constitutional Court, there should be this limbo where these people are not supposed to sit in the House. No. The Zambian Parliament does not belong to the Speaker. It is a creature of our Constitution. If it is a creature of our Constitution, it follows the Constitution, not the ruling of the Madam Speaker. The Madam Speaker has no authority to change the constitution of our republic. If there is any issue to do with the constitution of our republic, we either take it to the Constitutional Court or we are going to cure it and lean. You make your rulings in a way that leans towards due process and democratic values. And in order not to deprive the people of Kabush their elected MP. Elected MP. But if you are just going to be using words, because this thing says sit nullified by a high court of competent jurisdiction, elections are contentious. Empowering one judge, single judge, to make a definitive decision. No. I love judges. I believe in the judges, but there is no way that we are going to surrender the viability of our democracy on one judge's final determination. No. At least if you say that maybe there are 3 judges, high court judges that are looking at it, maybe I can lean towards saying, it's okay, it's been nullified. Number 3, a single judge, achita nullify, elo mwakano kuba chita sita bama MPs, mpaka Constitutional Court, mainly 3 or 5 or whatever it is, until they rule. Elo the current law, as far as nullification, is pretty difficult. Unfortunately, it's a problem. We need to change it. Because it says it's not enough just to do something illegal. No, but that the illegal things that were done in an election could have made people not to vote for a particular candidate, which is pretty high thing to do. And so it's always better to have a second set of eyes over these nullifications through a constitutional court, through an appeal process. Always better. Our democracy will be served better if we allow due process to take place. And this appeal mechanism that is afforded in our constitution. And not say that, no, you can't sit because tatuaka sende mpia ngatwa milipira. Ni mpia, this is all about money. Our democracy is about money. Salary that, do these MPs even salaries? Is it about salaries? It's about ukubombera abantu. That's all. Which is salary. Here MP. Ipuira mufidiro na mkuafuirisha kwa balanda. Ask them, all these MPs. That's why they leave Parliament broke, completely broke, unless ngavaiba. Like Malanji kuite. Awachite transfer pia kutaki. You know? Our MPs are sacrificing. They're just like soldiers. They sacrifice a lot. So we need to be clear that it's not about emoluments at all, you know. Just a question, legal minds. I still say a TV. Again, please stop using criminal law principles onto this question, okay? Don't. Dr. Elias Musha, help us interpret the Constitution in simple terms. Simple, we always have misunderstandings. This is not even a complicated interpretation of the Constitution. Simple. Nullified by the High Court, they appeal to the Constitutional Court. What should happen? Common sense. Okay? Okay. Common sense. What should happen? Umuntu achita appeal. At yote tu. Tabarandira tamasitsi yabanalify. Baranda at teitmuikale mu Parliament. Efirandireva, Madam Speaker. Words on the street is that they can't address him. That word on the street is wrong. They can address him as sir. And they will. Because it is us, the people, who tell the army who they can salute to. Okay? No. I mean, never inside their thing. But outside the military, we have political oversight. And it is us, the people, who then tell the military who they are going to fund them, sell them guns, buy guns for them, who is going to buy which equipment for them. The Zambia army does not buy its own equipment. We, the people, are the ones who arm them. And we, the people, have a say in the way we are going to arm them. They can tell us, I need 3 guns. And then we the people say, okay, but impia from our taxes, chachepa, twalamishira kofi mfutimo, bushoktumule chinjanya. Okay, we the people, we do that. That's very important. That's what it means to be a controlling officer at the Ministry of Defense. Don't look at it in terms of saluting, no. Look at it in terms of the people of Zambia having political oversight over our guns and tanks. Okay? Or sometimes we the people would say, okay, our soldiers, we want to upgrade you. I am a uniform for the we the people. We the people can say, if you have a tank, if you have a kaunda, that you have yo. State of the art, state of the art. That's how it works. So if you land at word on the street, there is no word on the street. Our army is well disciplined and they are following their civilian command, civilian political structure. Kateka, if it was ewa sala, Mr. Norman Chipakopako. Tufirokula tota. Yeah, Lupando Mwape was an ex-enlisted soldier, and he was vice president of our country, true. All right. Okay, I've got to end here. We'll be back with my friends for a little more discussion. God bless you, and God bless... God bless you, and God bless our country. Thank you.